In this video, you will learn about the background and benefits of holotropic breathwork, what you can expect in your session, and why many people view it as superior to meditation. Breathwork is a very powerful tool. If you think about it, the first thing you do when you come to this world is you take an inhale, and the last thing you do is you take an exhale. And your state of consciousness is directly impacted by your breathing pattern. If you are angry, you will breathe a lot differently than if you are at peace. Let's say you're angry and I tell you oh no, this is stupid, don't be angry. In most cases, you're going to be even more angry because you're not listened to, you're not understood, your feelings are not validated, all that kind of stuff. But if you have the inner stability to change your breathing pattern within 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, you can change your state of consciousness. So with our breath, we can direct many things in our lives. For me, breathwork has been significantly more impactful than meditation. I can remember the first time I meditated about 6 or 7 years ago. I heard about all the benefits, emotional stability, groundedness, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, whew, I can use some of that in my life. So I put a timer on my phone, about 20 minutes, closed my eyes and started meditating. And for me, it was a horrible experience. I had all the thoughts running through my head of my to-do list, the things I need to accomplish, the things I haven't accomplished, that I'm not good enough, all that kind of stuff. And after eternity, what it felt like, I looked at my timer and it only said 12 minutes have gone by. So for me, it was very difficult. And of course, it's a practice. The more you do it, the better you become at it. But if you think about it, you have a constant overthinker, the way that I used to be, and you close your eyes, those thoughts are going to even amplify. And the benefits of breathwork is that you give your conscious mind something to focus on, your breathing pattern, and by changing your breathing pattern, something will happen inside of you. So the optimum breath is breathing through the nose with about a 5 or 6 second inhale and a 5 to 6 second exhale. And I say that because in the holotropic breathwork, we do basically exactly the opposite, but everything has its time and place. And if you breathe through your nose, it also, your nasal cavities, they filter the air, they moisten the air. Also, you are in the rest and repair nervous system, where in modern society, we are too much under stress, too much under pressure, thinking about what our boss will say, what our coworker did, this, that, and not really coming to peace with ourselves. And the average adult takes between 15 to 18 breaths a minute. And when you breathe 20 times a minute, you're automatically in a state of anxiety. And that can bring up the question, is the anxiety caused because of the breathing, or the breathing caused because of the anxiety? But the more important takeaway is that you can change your state of consciousness by changing your breathing pattern. But like I mentioned, everything at its time and place. And in the holotropic breathwork, we consciously overbreathe also through our mouth a lot more frequently as well. And that way we have more oxygen in our body. And that changes our brain chemistry. And the monkey brain, which talks all the time, is going to shut down. And deeper parts of the brain where emotions, deep memories are stored, are going to activate. And that's causing an emotional release in you. But why is this so powerful? If you look at a 5-year-old child, is usually super expressive, full range of emotion. And when the child is angry and starts kicking things, making a mess, the parents say oh no, don't be angry, because they don't want the kid to damage things. And then the kid starts to learn, well, it's not safe for me to be angry. When the child is sad, the parents are oh no, don't be sad, be happy. And the child also learns, well, it's also not safe for me to be sad. And then we start to categorize the good emotions, the bad emotions, and we cut ourselves off. And all the emotions want is to be felt. You look at a 15-year-old teenager, then usually very, non-expressive. And it can be that you experience a certain level of emotional impact, maybe childhood, teenage years, or maybe even later, where you haven't healed from that experience, and you say I do whatever it takes to not feel this way. But what usually happens is if you cut out the one side of the emotions, the anger, the frustration, the sadness, it also cuts off the other side of the coin, the joy, the happiness, the gratitude. So it's also about learning emotional regulation, which it's not taught in school. And like I mentioned, all of the emotions, they just want to be felt. But those negative emotions, those dense emotions, we can have a lot of fear about them. They can be intimidating, but once we have the courage to start looking at them, we observe that it's just a part of us that we have been neglecting, that we haven't given our love and attention to. And the more you go through it, the more it will transform from the darkness to the light. So what can come up in your holotropic breathwork session? It can be that, those events that you haven't emotionally processed will start to come up and you can work through them, which is beautiful and amazing, because even though you are not consciously aware of them, they're still in your subconscious, self-sabotaging you, whether it's looking for validation from others, not feeling worthy, to procrastinate, all that kind of stuff. And in reality, we don't want an event that happened in the past 2 years, 5 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, to have that strong of an impact on you today, that you cannot trust, that you cannot let go of control, that this event still impacts your present and the future. So it can help you to emotionally process the things that can hold you down. But again, it can be, which is more of a rarer case, that those deeper things come up from a long time ago, but it can be just as much that you have something more recent that might have been holding you down, or it can be that you connect with yourself, you feel, not just the bad side of the emotions, but also the positive ones, the gratitude, the joy, the love. You can have visions about yourself, your future, what kind of life you want to live. So it can go in all different type of directions. I like to say, it can go a little bit into like the uncomfortability, but just as much in the positive direction. It is also possible that your experience is more physical, especially if it's more of your first time doing holotropic breathwork. And it is because your trauma, trapped emotions is stored in the body. And by doing this exercise, it will start to loosen up and release. So maybe the first times you don't have that much of a emotional understanding, emotional release, comprehension, but by loosening up the subconscious, the trapped emotions, you will feel a lot lighter after. You will be able to sleep like a baby, and it is just as valuable of an experience. Then there's the topic of intention. And you can have a specific intention when doing a holotropic breathwork session. And it could be maybe you've been feeling anxiety or stress lately to release, or that you have a question about something and you want to connect with yourself. So it can be specific, start breathing, let it develop, or it can be something broad, which I personally like a lot, is to just see what's going on inside of me, connect with myself, and let it develop as well. And that goes into the next point, is that it's good to have an intention, but let go of expectations as much as possible. Not like, oh, no, I'm gonna encounter this deep emotion or this or whatever, or this is how my session is going to look like, because then you really limit your experience and put a lot of pressure on it. The best is to have your intention, start breathing, and let it develop the way it develops. So what are the benefits of holotropic breathwork? It is to move from our head to our body to our heart, to have an emotional release, to release tension, to connect with oneself, to connect with one's emotion, with one's subconscious, to find clarity, to find focus, to improve sleep. And the beautiful part is that you don't need to take any external substance to do it. And your breath is available to you at any time. And I had a person join one of my classes, and he said that breathwork changed his life. And I thought it was beautiful, because I work a lot with plant medicines, and I can say that plant medicine changed my life. But he didn't need plant medicine. And by doing breathwork regularly, he was able to connect with himself, to understand himself better, to emotionally process the events of the past, to create a vision for himself. So it's a very powerful tool, and I wish for you to discover this tool as well, and you're more than welcome to join one of the sessions. In the next video, I will go into the specifics, into the instructions on how to actually do the holotropic breathwork. Stay tuned.